Evelyn had always been drawn to abandoned places, to the forgotten corners of the world. There was a certain allure to the silence, a whisper of secrets that most people would never hear. That's what brought her here, one rainy October evening, to the decrepit house on Willow Lane. Its windows were like hollow eyes, blackened with grime. The shutters hung at odd angles, and the front door sagged as if it had been holding a long, reluctant breath for decades. She pushed it open. The hinges screamed, a sound that seemed to echo not just in the empty hallway, but in her very bones. Inside, the air was thick, heavy with the smell of rot and dust. Her flashlight cut a sharp beam through the darkness, illuminating faded wallpaper, a grand staircase coated in years of grime, and portraits of long-forgotten faces staring down with lifeless eyes. Evelyn's heart raced, a frantic drum against her ribs. She told herself it was just excitement, just curiosity, not fear. But the house had a way of speaking without words. Every creak of the floorboards under her feet sounded like a whisper just out of earshot. Every gust of wind rattling the broken windows felt like a cold sigh right behind her neck. She started up the staircase, each step groaning beneath her weight as if protesting her presence. At the top, a long corridor stretched into absolute darkness. Doors lined either side, most hanging limply from their hinges. But one, in particular, drew her in, the one at the very end of the hall. Its wood was blackened and warped, as if it had been scorched not by fire, but by time itself. Evelyn hesitated, a shiver tracing a cold path down her spine. Then, she reached out and turned the knob. At first glance, the room was empty, but it was heavy, pressing in on her from all sides. Her flashlight flickered, casting dancing shadows along the walls. They were unnaturally long, moving with a life of their own, independent of her light. And then she saw it. In the far corner, a single wooden rocking chair, facing the wall. It was rocking, ever so slightly, back and forth, though nothing, no one was touching it. Evelyn's breath hitched. It's just the floorboards, she whispered to the oppressive silence, but the rocking didn't stop. And then came the whisper, so soft it was almost imaginary, like a voice buried deep behind a locked door. It said, "Don't turn around." Her head jerked. Nothing. Just the empty, dark hallway behind her. Yet, the weight of unseen eyes on her back was so intense, it made her stomach numb. A primal urge screamed at her to leave, to run, but her legs refused to obey. Something compelled her to step closer, to see what she knew she shouldn't. The room grew colder, an unnatural chill that bit at her skin. Her flashlight sputtered and went out, plunging her into near-total darkness. Heart hammering against her chest, she fumbled for her phone, its light weak and trembling in her shaky hand. In the dim glow, she saw the marks scratched deep into the wall, jagged and desperate. They spelled out words she didn't want to read. "I'm still here." A sudden, violent slam of the door behind her made her scream. Evelyn spun around, her phone light cutting a frantic arc through the darkness. The hallway was empty, but the whisper returned, closer now, right beside her ear. "Turn around, Evelyn." Her blood ran cold. She was frozen, unable to move, unable to speak. The shadows in the corners of the room began to gather, cooling and rising slowly, forming shapes her mind couldn't fully comprehend. Vague outlines of faces, mouths opening in silent screams, their eyes hollow yet hungry. Evelyn stumbled backward toward the door, but the hallway had changed. It stretched on and on, the walls subtly bending and warping, as if the house itself were alive, reshaping its own architecture to trap her. Each step felt like wading through thick, cold water. The air was alive with murmurs now, a chorus of ghostly voices, all promising the same thing. Stay forever. The rocking chair in the corner was closer to her now. It had stopped rocking. A heavy, suffocating silence fell over the room, and then a face appeared in the dark, right in front of her. It was pale, gaunt, its eyes the black voids that stared directly into her soul. It smiled, though it had no lips. Slowly, it raised a hand, and in that instant, her flashlight flickered back on. The face vanished. Evelyn gasped, desperate for air, trying to collect her shattered nerves. But the room was no longer the same. The portraits on the walls hung crookedly, their eyes following her. The air smelled fouler, a stench of decay and despair. The house wasn't abandoned. It was waiting for her to break, to see, to belong. She ran. But the hallway twisted impossibly. Every door she threw open led back to the same room, the same corner, the same chair. Now rocking silently again, the whisper followed her everywhere. You can't leave. You're part of this now. Panic finally overwhelmed her. She fell to her knees, clawing at the floorboards. They were sticky, almost feeling alive beneath her fingertips. The chair moved closer, and she could feel its presence even before she saw Ita cold, demanding weight pressing against her. Evelyn squeezed her eyes shut. When she opened them again, the walls were filled with reflections. Her own face, her own terrified eyes, stared back at her from every surface. Welcome home. The whispers coalesced into a single, commanding voice. It came from the air, the walls, the floor beneath her. Evelyn screamed, but no sound left her throat. She was utterly alone yet, completely surrounded. Days later, neighbors passing by reported seeing a light in the house, a faint glow in one of the upper windows. Some swore they heard whispers carried on the wind, urging them to stay, to see what lay beyond the doors of Willow Lane. The house still stands. Its windows are dark, its door warped, and inside, Evelyn waits. Silent now, but always watching. So, if you ever find yourself passing by on a rainy October evening, and the wind carries a faint whisper to your ears, beware. The house breathes, and it remembers. And if you look too long into its darkness, you might just see her smile, and know that you are next. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more tales from the shadows. Stay safe out there.